Well, hello fellows. Welcome to Karen's Orchids. Windowsill grower, cabinet grower, balcony grower in the Northern Hemisphere, Gothenburg, Sweden. Yeah. Today's going to be Paphiopedilum time. These paps have been sitting on the little white tray inside the higher humidity glass cabinet. I feel like I do not really have as much control over them than I would like to have. So, and they are easily knocked over as soon as I stretch over and try to grab a plant there. One of the mounds and the need to be dip watered. So I figured we're going to go outside again, or shall I say inside, to average room humidity. They can take it. These guys aren't so finicky regarding humidity as the Paphiopedilum Paphiopedilum is, so I think it's going to be fine, but they kind of stay in clay pots. I do have a lot of Paphiopedilums. It's not only frags, I only have these, around 12 Paphiopedilums here, but I do have much more Paphiopedilums than frags. Perhaps are much easier to get hold of, to find up there, for sometimes a very cheap amount of money. Look at this beautiful Paphiopedilum, very bloom willing, about 2 or 3 times a year. Paphiopedilum Rose Dawn. I want to show you guys a very ugly Paphiopedilum. This one obviously didn't do what I wanted it to, so it's a Paphiopedilum Saint Swithin. So I went on and got myself a better sample of it. This is what I call a real Saint Swithin. Around 10 fans by now. They call them fans, since these guys' new growth do not carry any pseudobulbs, as cattleyas, for example, do. This is a pseudobulb. This one is a much better pseudobulb. Shall we say water reservoir for bad times, times without water, yeah, just like camels. Yeah, but these guys do not have it. That's why they are considered semi-terrestrial orchids, growing in medium. Yeah, likes to have the roots all covered up. They're not epiphytes, such as Phalaenopsis and Cattleyas, and many other orchids. So these guys needs to be a bit moist at all times, and the roots shall never be exposed to air. Yes, and after a while, the old fans will naturally die off and be replaced with another one, a new one, a smaller one. And that's exactly what happened to this guy. It was a very well-grown plant until I tried to create a second fan to replace the old one with. It hasn't gotten sufficient amount of what it needs. I didn't really like it in the cabinet, so I'm going to deal with this guy today as well. I'll remove this old fan and put him into a smaller pot. Yes, I have a good amount of plastic pots. And as I do not like to have the roots exposed to light, I would like to keep them in an outside container, darker, surrounding the plastic pot, since I do want to see the root progress. Yes, so then we can have both. I do have very soft water where I live, average pH around 7.5, not so calcareous. So even these guys, the model-leafed ones, should be added on a bit of calcium in order not to make the soil become too acidic far too quick. Yes. And the plain green-leafed ones. As for my beautifully growing now Paphiopedilum stonii, should naturally need a bit more calcium from where it came from. These guys are growing on a very wide range of places around the world. Asia, India, Nepal, and that would naturally include quite severe changes in conditions at times. So some are more resilient than others. regarding where they come from. Yes? So, but now we're in Sweden, so we need to do what we can. But I think the most crucial part is that you repot them at least once a year to keep the soil not too acidic. Yes? You can repot them at any time of the year. It will not affect the blooms, will not set back the orchids by any means. So that's a real good thing. You do not need to wait for new root growth. I haven't seen any difference, so I don't think it matters really. But what I do not do is keep up with the watering. They shouldn't dry out completely. The roots will die off, yeah? And you will not see any blooms. So in order to make them bloom a little bit better, try to give them sufficient amount of water. And throughout the winter period, if you have real dry conditions, as I have here in Gothenburg, in my apartment, when the heating elements are all switched on to the maximum, it will be very, very dry in here, around 30 to 40% humidity. Yeah, the medium will naturally dry out, quick as heck. So we can simply pour a bit of water into the bottom of a container, let it sit there, and drink. Nothing bad will happen to the orchid. It's quite alright. It needs this moisture. Now, you can see the potting mixture contains of small to medium grade bark, loads of perlite, yes, and I will need a bit of spag. So I have this sprig of spag. It's much easier to cut it straight ahead. Down there, before the long strands get wet. Yes, it'll be very difficult to separate, and it will form clusters of spag. So you will end up with partitional clusters of spag in your pot. I would like to keep it evenly amongst the medium. Yes, so I don't think you need to see me cutting this, but you see my point. So while the moss is there soaking, a lot of moss, I decided to make a very, very huge amount of this Paphiopedilum special mix. So I decided to repot all of these paths as well. But not together with you guys, but by myself. They are far too dry. They get far too dry, far too quick. So I would like to see them in bloom. Loads of Paphiopedilum, Orchidianum hybrids in there, on that shelf. But anyways, today we're going to focus on the other guys. But so, today I think I'm going to get rid of the eggshells, the dried eggshells. It's been in the oven for about 40 minutes, 50 degrees Celsius. Just been lying there for ages, so now you're gone. And what else do we want? Some grow stones. We create a bit of airiness and add on a good amount of minerals. In many cases you find grow stones in the Paphiopedilum mix used at the nursery or garden center. And a bit of charcoal, yes. I will add a whole lot more perlite, all of it. Some more bark, poor quality, loads of sticks in there. I might as well just use the whole bag. Yeah, we'll sort them out a bit. I better bring another bucket here, so we can mix in the moss separately. So the mix is ready. Look. And the other bag, not so great, but soon. I don't think it has so many roots, but I always use this little wooden knife. Always, but I try to use it when I remember it. See what happens. You can lift easily or not. Yeah. It's not much. Most part is medium. So now you got got myself a spare little clay pot. What's going on with this orchid? Dead root? Bad stuff. Bad? No, that's wrong. Okay, let's start cutting. Roots dead, cut it away. Mushy, soft, cut it away. Obviously belonging to the old fan, yeah. Soft. So, beginning there. Not so much left when we're done with this orchid. No substance in these roots either. Cut it away. And what we do have is two lovely roots. You know, a good growing stage. Look. Yes. One root for each leaf, they say. Quite correct. Now I need to see. This one is not creating anything else here. If I tear it off, it would probably tear a whole lot off together with it. So I decide to do as they do at the nurseries, cut it off. Like this. So, and leave this little thingy. So, now we're left with a lot small orchid. No, I'm not going to separate these roots. We'll only tear off the outer part of the root, the protecting layer, so to speak. The layer with loads of hairs, creating oxygen around the roots in order not to get them far too soggy. The hairs prevents the roots from suffocation. So that's a good mechanism, isn't it? It's difficult to find a proper pot for it since its roots are very long. If I overpot it, it will kill off the roots. So I would have wanted a quite high and very narrow pot, but as I do not have it, I will need to use this one. I need to be so careful in order not to break the roots. They're going to press the orchid to the side, and I do not really like it, but what choice do we have? Not so much. But it will sort itself out when it gets a couple of more roots. And hopefully a couple of more leaves in the future. This one is used to be sitting in a very, very humid condition, so it's not going to be easy for him to switch suddenly. But I'm going to do what I can to give him the water and care as he deserves. So, yeah, he's a tiny little guy now, but yeah, doesn't even need to be staked. Into this little container, so I can water it, dip water it by pouring water, let it sit there and soak. Quite easy maintenance and space saving. Yeah, you want to see this guy. It's a beautiful orchid, Paphiopedilum Callosum. It's a species orchid. I want to show you this guy in bloom, right here, right now. And you're gonna love it. So, not a very long root system, this one either. It's mostly for the frags. They love to grow a very, very long root system. Or at least they should grow a very, very long root system. And doing well. So for frags, it's recommended to use quite high containers if they have a large root system. Not so bad. Quite sturdy roots on this guy. This mottle-leaved, beautiful specious orchid. What do you think about the blooms? I bet you loved it as well. So, I'm going to wash him a bit carefully, very carefully. Yes, touched it. I'm very happy about this orchid's progress. It wasn't much of a plant when I received it from Swithin a couple of years ago. Took a few years for it to decide to bloom, finally. And what a long time blooming, yeah. So I want this fan to be as nice and large as the one it bloomed from there. So I need to create a bit of space, but yeah, it already did it for me. Here, so. Loads of moisture and a new root there coming, you can see. That's great. I need to cover the roots. I need to cover the base. They're not so very sensitive to getting their base wet. There's a need to get the base wet in order for the new roots to be able to merge properly. Otherwise, they would just come out as small little stumps, as we say. Short, about 1 centimeter, and die off. Yeah. No blooming. Yeah, forget about blooms. You need to give them moisture in order for them to bloom. Yes, good simple. It's winding everything up in words, but so press it down firm, but not too fiercely. Bear in mind that there are fragile roots under there. I need to spray them with something to prevent thrips now. And there will be a little bit more setback for a while to adapt to the new conditions, drier conditions. So my orange oil from Curlin will come in handy, like always. I'm trying that pesticide out now for almost all of my orchids. This one. A curling solution. Okay. I don't think we need any staking. But a nice outside container. And into this beautiful white one. So, one month later, I'm jumping wide and crazy in this video. Hey, the Callosum is in bud. Yeah, watering time. So, this is the time period this orchid is supposed to be blooming, summertime. But it did bloom in November to January. So, not even 6 months ago this guy bloomed for us. And it did bloom for a good 2 month time. So, rewarding plant and a second plant coming. That's what happened last time. It was creating this fan as it was blooming from that one. So that's a January fan. This is the new fan for January, and now is the new fan for June. It's an incredible plant with a very, very nicely looking, nicely patterned foliage. The best green foliage I've seen on a path this far. I think this one is the best monolith one. Yeah. And we're going to deal with the last one for today. Since I want to show you its blooms. I guess that's the main reason why I chose this one right now. This is one of my absolute favorite Paphiopedilums, Godfrey. Look. This one is going to create a little bud from within that sheath. And its blooms will look like this. I just wanted to show you. I think this one, for now, is my favorite Paphiopedilum. It's the Godfroyer, a species, Paphiopedilum. It's got a lovely, lovely scent. It reminds me a bit of roses. 7 centimeters wide. You can see. A good sized flower. Mottled leaf set. Dark leaves. Very, very leathery like. And firm. Kind of small plant. But still flowering size. Easy grower, easy bloomer. So now you guys, you know why I love this orchid so much. I think this one is from Swithin. I think you recognize the tag. Okay. So it's a good thing. I think the medium's starting to decompose a bit. And this mold and stuff. Yeah, so a bad root. Fat, worm-like roots on this guy. Very, very dark roots in comparison. But it is a dark-colored orchid. Very, very lovely foliage in a way. But it's quite alright. Just wash her off. So that leaf won't do this orchid any good, so I just get rid of it. So I bet the old dead root belonged to that one, the old leaf. Yeah, look. Old flower spike. And I did spray it with this orange oil, but beware of getting the oil on the roots. No good. Suffocation will be a fact. Look, it's a lovely root system. This pot. Thought it would be a bit too large, but considering this one's huge root system, I think it probably is very nice for it. They say that it should be potted up quite tightly, quite cozy. But yeah, as long as they do not dry out. So that's even a more severe factor than the fact that they like to stay cozy, if you see my point. If they dry out, it's even worse. And in here, they do. You need to consider your conditions, where you live, how hard it is, how dry it is, what kind of water you have. These are quite low light orchids, but I don't think you should put them in the shade just to try. When the care sheet says that it's a low light orchid, it's probably around average on Oncidium light. Anyways, we all do have different preferences on what's good light, dampened light, bright light, direct sunlight, shady position, and so on. So give it a bit more than you think, and I think you're safe. A bit more than you think that the care sheets refers to. That's what I did, and it works just fine in most of the cases with my orchids. A bit more light than you think. So, Godfroyer, one of the most beautiful paths nature ever made. Species. So I hope I'm going to be able to show her to you in bloom shortly this summer. So I hope you like this video, a little care tutorial or guide on how I grow my Paphiopedilums and stuff while I was at it. Why not include you guys, my friends on YouTube? So give this video a thumbs up. subscribe to my channel for more. I do have many genesis of orchids. So always something new coming up. Yeah? And do leave a comment. I really love when you leave a comment. So we can start chatting. So take care, and we should talk soon, guys. Bye-bye.